Welcome to another great show of APN TV Media. We've got a lot in store for you today. As a matter of fact, we have the two guests today. The first one that's coming on the show is Suzy Davies. Suzy Davies, she's written a book called Luna the Moon Pig, The Pig Who Hid. It's a pretty good children's book. And a legend, matter of fact, she also has a legendary illustrator, Bob.
Yes, I know she does. Sheila Graber.
Sheila Graber.
So this could be a great book. I bet it is. But we're going to hear all about it.
Definitely. And our second guest on the show is Sandra Barnes. Sandra Barnes written Battered, Beaten, and Scorned, Still I Rise Above It All. And that book is more like a autobiography, documentary, so to speak. She actually written like a novel. It tells a story about her life and how she was chased. One of the things I'm asked about that, I know it's kind of deep to say that, but being chased down a football field while her man was trying to pour gasoline on her. He was trying to light her. That was crazy. That was, whew.
Lots of crazy stuff happens,
Insane.
But we'll hear about that too.
You got it. Anyway, on that note, you have anything to say?
Nope, I'm ready to listen to what Suzy has to tell us.
Okay, but let me ask you a question before we do it. What do you think about this whole thing with the government with all these sex scandal stuff?
I think I think some of it's true and some of it's false, and we'll find out probably in the end to a certain degree. But I think it was set up by liberals to get conservatives out of office, and then the women just went after everybody who's done it, so now a lot of liberals are going down the tube.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about including liberals in a situation like that.
Because first it was Bill O'Reilly, and then all of a sudden it's turned back, and they're hitting a lot of the guys like Al Franken. So, but anyway, I don't think the women want to talk about that right now.
You know what? You're right, but they do have a voice.
Right.
They do have a voice. All right, on that note, we'll be right back with Suzy Davies after this. Yes. Welcome back. Oh!
What?
You took us, no, we're over here. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Start that over. That's cool. You can come back to 2. You can come back to 2. Yes.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back. Oh my goodness, we've been just having just too much fun. You know what let's you know what, I'll tell you what, Bob, let's just dive right into it with this children's book. The children's book is Luna the Pig Who Hid by Suzy Davies. The legendary illustrator is Sheila Graber. Sheila Graber. And with us today, yes, we have Suzy Davies. As a matter of fact, Suzy, how you doing?
Very good, thank you.
Welcome on the show.
Thank you.
Is anywhere, I know you're here in the U.S. now, but can we give you props of the UK? But you're originally from the UK, United Kingdom?
Yes, that's right. I was born in Reading in Berkshire in England.
Wow. Wow, beautiful. So what brings you to the States, to live here in the States? I mean, this, according to some of the background, a university and things like that you have. Did you come here for to study university or marriage? How did you end up coming to the United States?
Well, I actually came over here for a holiday, and I married an American man who's from Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania?
Yes.
Wow.
So he's a big Steelers fan.
Oh, yes. I know all about it. I'm from Philadelphia originally, so I know all about
right.
it.
He should be very happy this week.
Yeah, he'll be very happy. Yes, especially, what does he think about your book?
Well, it's all very exciting. Luna the Moon Pig, the pig who hid. It came from a real life story. And it was a complete surprise for me. And, some writers say that people don't necessarily choose their genre. Sometimes their genre chooses them. And I think that's what's happened with me.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, I noticed, if you don't mind, I want to put this dedication page out too. In your behalf, that you dedicated the book to your late mom, to Joanne, and your late dad, and I believe late dad John.
Yeah.
Is that it? Okay. And your late grandma, Gwladys. How do you pronounce that? Gwladys.
Oh yes, that's Welsh. It's Gladys. It's quite a popular name in Wales.
Oh wow, excellent. And to love all. I was very young. To love all animals. So I just wanted to give you a little extra shout out for that. In respect to your book and a dedication to your family.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome. Huh?
Well, that does look like a very nice picture. And so you're partially Welsh and partially English.
By parentage, yes, certainly I am. My dad was Welsh and my grandmother was Welsh. And in fact, my first written language was Welsh. So English is my second language, or was, when it came to writing, because the first language that I learnt to write in was actually Welsh.
That must have been quite a change to make, because I've seen how so many of the languages there are differences. Like there's a TH sound in English, and in many other languages there is not a TH sound.
That's right. I mean, I've always liked languages, and it was a difficult transition at first, but I think it gave me a sort of love for language. You know, hearing Welsh spoken in the home and English, it got me interested at a very early age.
Oh yes, that would be interesting. Where we're coming from is Monroe, Michigan, and Monroe was originally called Frenchtown because it was settled predominantly by the French, and then they renamed it in honor of President Monroe.
Oh, right.
Yes.
That's really interesting.
So there are people here who, their grandparents spoke French at home. And so very similar to the situation you would have grown up in.
Yeah.
And and in fact, my grandmother's maiden name was Morris, and she was Welsh.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say that's also a popular name in Wales.
Well, yes, and she named her only son. Her mother told her to carry on the name, so she named her only son Morris Laginus.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
I'm gonna throw us back into the book here for a moment. What is the inspiration behind your children's book? Because you just mentioned about the genre at times chooses you, which, oftentimes that is correct. Somehow, as you're writing, that actually it is the genre itself. So what inspired you to write this book?
Well, it was a stroke of luck, actually, a little bit like my first children's book. My first children's book was Snugs the Snow Bear. And that was inspired by a beach walk at Southbourne in England, where I looked over the ocean to the Isle of Wight, to the Needles, and I saw this magnificent etching of a bear in the chalk face of the Needles. And it was a snow bear, that the outline looked just like a polar bear. And I thought, I must write a book about him, And so with Luna the moon pig, the pig who hid, something very lucky happened. I mean, it really was lucky. I was just looking at the sunset one evening out in the backyard, and I saw this little black animal, and I thought it's a pig. And I called my husband Craig, and I said, "There's a pig in the back garden." And he said, "No, it's a cat." And I went out and I said, "It is a pig, because this little animal didn't move like a cat, and it was squeaking." And I kept insisting. I said, "It's a pig, it's a pig." And he was going, "I think you'll find it's a cat." So I got up a bit closer, and Luna was illuminated under this huge harvest moon. It was a very, very clear, bright night when I saw her. And she went trotting off into the bushes, and I couldn't catch her, but she decided to camp out for several nights in the neighbour's yard and our yard. And so I left water and lettuce out for the pig to encourage her, and I just watched her from the window, and I knew straight away I had to write a children's book about her.
Okay, so.
Wow.
So now that's why she's the moon pig. The moon is shining on her. Yes. I thought you were talking about at first writing about a pig on the moon, and I thought, oh, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, well, you never know. That could be one of the sequels to in the series. I have thought about that.
Yes.
Well, you do have what was interesting is that you also shared something about that with a cat in your book, which was interesting. One of your old friends, Sylvia Welsh, I believe.
Yeah, that's actually my illustrator's friend. Is Sylvia? Yes.
Okay. Well, like you got a dynamic duel then, because that's kind of nice that you're surrounded by some great illustrators.
I know. I feel.
And one of them happens to have a cat that watches, or she's according to the picture, she's actually drawing her cat's modeling for her. It was interesting. The cat's sitting up there just modeling while she's drawing an image of her cat, which is also in your book.
Yes, towards the end of the book, it actually shows the lead female character, Maria, little girl. There's a story within a story in the book, and it actually shows Maria drawing Luna as she poses for her as the ideal model for the story. But Sheila's icon as an illustrator, her trademark for Quizzycat Productions, is actually Quizzycat, which is a ginger puss cat.
Oh, that would be a pretty model for to represent your company, because cats are very lovely little creatures.
Well, Quizzycat actually puts in an appearance in my story, Luna the Moon Pig, because when Luna decides to hide under a bush, she has a little visit from a ginger cat. And if you look at the illustration, it's just like Quizzycat, which is Sheila Graber's logo for her animation company.
And do cats and pigs actually get along together?
I think they do, yes.
Okay. I never knew which animals got along and which didn't, you know. Some animals tend to fight, some don't.
I think if they're together at a very early age, you know, they get on well, yes.
Well, you're probably right about that. My sister has a cat and a dog who are about the same age. They were raised together, and they play with each other, play fight and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. I wasn't thinking about that with a pig and a cat though, but yeah. So Luna is a young pig.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
So Luna is a young pig.
Yeah, she's a little piglet, yes.
Okay, okay. So I guess when they're small enough, even the pigs are cute.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this pig that escaped, as I said, she camped out several nights in the back garden, and then the owner came to collect her. She'd been looking for her in the neighborhood. And of course, I was almost sorry to see Luna go back to the owner. Although I was very happy for the owner, I got rather attached to Luna. So as she was going away in the car, she got her pig in her lap, and I rushed out with some more lettuce for Luna, and I stroked her, you know. And she's very, very lovable, very lovable.
Oh, that's
and they are quite clever too, that pigs apparently have more intelligence than a 3-year-old child. So that's, you know, that's an interesting fact about pigs. They are very clever.
Oh, that is pretty clever. Yes, and you know, and I've read that an intelligent dog can be up to as intelligent as a 5-year-old child, which is quite intelligent for an animal also.
Yes, absolutely.
And so, yeah, I did not realize pigs had that kind of intelligence.
Well, I must admit, I didn't know until I did I always do research for my books, and I had no idea, and it fascinated me when I found that out, yes.
Oh, yeah, so that would make them, I can understand why they'd be good farm creatures then, and good, I don't know, I've never known anybody who actually had one for a pet.
So you didn't look at it as a pet, you looked at it as bacon, huh?
Yeah, well, so.
Remember, we had the, what was the, come on everybody, we all know, Piglet, was it Piglet? We all know about Piglet, okay, and what's the other one? Or was Piglet the one with the spider that came down? What's the other one?
Oh, yeah, you're talking about, A.A. Milne and Piglet, yes. I mean,
yes.
That kind of inspired me, that, you know, pigs can be lovable, because, of course, Piglet and Winnie the Pooh are very iconic.
Very good, yes.
And, of course, you're talking about Wilbur, aren't you, in E.B.
Yes, Wilbur
White's
also. Thank you.
Charlotte's Web, yes. That was an inspiration for my book. I'm a big fan of E.B. White, having read a book about the childhood, and how they grew up. And I just like the detail in the writing. And of course, Hans Christian Andersen, The Ugly Duckling, was an inspiration for Luna the Moonpig, and in some ways Luna the Moonpig is a retelling of that story.
But that's the other thing. Even with Hans Christian Andersen, what happened is he actually and what's interesting is that took something that you considered something as a breakfast or a dining room supper menu, to that these are also considered as pets, lovable pets. It kind of transformed our thinking since about that time with Charlotte's Web, Winnie the Pooh, and a lot of Hans Christian Andersen's children's stories. It took us to start loving animals more than they're just subjects for a dinner table.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Kind of gave us a choice.
I think when children learn to love animals from an early age, it actually teaches them empathy and caring in human relationships as well. That's how they actually learn to care for other human beings. It actually makes them aware of relationships.
Very good. Very good.
Why should our kids eat healthy? That's a good question. What happens when they don't eat healthy? Well, eating unhealthy leads to an unhealthy life. What can it lead to, you may ask? It can lead to childhood obesity, which leads to diabetes, high blood pressure, and also heart problems. It also can lead to our kids taking medicines at an early age and also extended hospital stays. How can we bring awareness to our kids about childhood obesity? How can we bring awareness to our parents about childhood obesity? Bringing awareness to our kids and their families about childhood obesity helps the whole family. Everyone is healthy and everyone is happy. I think I might have the solution. Follow me and let's see.
Suzy, how did you feel, the atmosphere, collaborating with your illustrator?
Oh, I mean, it's a wonderful atmosphere. Sheila is such a pioneer in art, education and animation, and it's a great honor for me to be working with somebody as great as her. And in some ways, I've had to pinch myself because I'm completely unknown as an author. It's like Suzy Davies, who? But as soon as people say Sheila Graver, everybody knows that she's the Walt Disney of Great Britain. So I feel very privileged and honoured, and it's been fun working with Sheila. She's very, very down to earth. She helps me keep my feet on the ground, and
yes.
We are a dynamic team together. We make things happen, and I've learned so much from her. She's very wise and very intuitive, and the whole thing, the text and the illustrations, the collaboration has just evolved really quite naturally and holistically, and it's exciting. It's been so exciting for both of us. And when we actually reached the point where we thought, yes, we've completed the book and we've done our best and we're going to send Luna out into the big wide world, we just felt so excited about it, and I'm so happy to be working with Sheila.
It's another thing about that. Is it okay to talk about her technique? Because her drawing is astounding, because she is the Disney of the Walt Disney of Britain. There's no doubt about that.
Yes, I mean
her technique. Yes,
I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't quite catch your question there.
The technique. What the techniques that she used for her illustrations? Because her illustrations are totally off the chain. I mean, it's dynamically unique.
They are unique. I mean, Sheila started off, she was classically trained in fine art, and she used traditional classical materials. And then I think it was in 1991, she actually started using computers to do 2D animation, which involved using a tablet and a pen. And for Luna in particular, she used a graphic tablet, and she got a very, very special effect which is sometimes used in animation, by using rotoscoping.
That's how she got. I'm sorry, that's how she got into animation. So what we're looking at in this book is actually today's technology with graphic illustrations or tablet illustrations.
Yes, that's
it's
right.
Like a glass. It's like a clear, smooth looking glass. The way she designed it, and so I mean that's difficult, but she made it easy. I'm just looking at the. Like, for example, I mean, all of it's awesome, but I was on page 6, and page 6 with all the children together and the little girl with the dog. I mean, this is fine-tuned, very fine-tuned.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's taken years and years of perfecting her craft. And this rotoscoping technique, which is used in animation, basically what happens is Sheila takes film and photographs, and then she draws the outline, and she actually uses a pen to mimic the colours and textures that actually occur in real life, and to get it as close to real life as possible. And of course the big challenge for Sheila was that Luna involved characters which were fictitious, the animal characters, if you like, or semi-real, and characters that were people that were very real. And of course Luna is super real, if you like. She made her have a cartoon-like appearance, and it was a tremendous challenge to actually have people who we actually had people as models to actually give inspiration, for the drawings. And it was a challenge to actually use real people, and then to have Luna as the super real, larger than life pig. I mean, Luna's full of character, and I think Sheila's really brought out her personality.
I was going to ask you that too. The characters are based off of real people.
That's right. We had a real family.
Very
Sheila
good.
told me,
Excellent.
I was laughing about this, that she actually got a black bag and made it into a pig shape and stuffed it. And then the real family that were the models for the Miller family in the book, the mum, the dad, and Maria, the little girl, they were actually based on real people who were acted out, all the different positions that were featured in the illustrations to get them as natural and real as possible. So hours and hours of work went into that. And I think the outcome is really stunning. The illustrations are really wonderful.
Yes, they are. And what advice would you give for someone who wants to write a children's book?
Well, I think I said at the beginning that some people think that they choose their genres, but sometimes the genre chooses you. So I think my advice would be to read, first of all, to read widely and not just in children's books. You know, you need a good foundation of reading in order to be a writer. And of course, I did read lots of books from an early age, and I went on to do my degrees, and that gave me a good foundation. I think that you need to be bold and, you know, be yourself. Try not to be worried about whether your writing is good enough. You know, when I started out, I'd write a lot of stuff and I wouldn't show it to anyone. And I think I spent years just writing stuff and hoarding it, if you like, and not really sharing it with anyone. And I do regret that. And I think you need to be out there. You need to experiment, be bold, be yourself, do lots of reading, and find out, you know, discover what you like to write about. And it will evolve. You will eventually find the thing that you're meant to do, you know, and it took me a long time, but I'm so glad that I found it.
And where can readers get your book?
Where can people...
Yes, where can people get your book?
Yes.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, the book's on Amazon, obviously, and it's on Amazon worldwide. So whether you're in Britain or Japan or Germany, wherever you are in the world, you can get the book on Amazon. And I am planning to do some book signings. So if there are any book retailers out there who would like to stock the book, you're more than welcome. I'm happy to come along and sign books for my readers.
Excellent. And we're looking forward to, putting a bug in some of these booksellers' ears and see what they can help open the door as well. So we do thank you for coming on the show. Bob, before I close out, is there any other questions you have?
Well, are you supporting any causes with your book?
Thank you. There we go.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Sheila and I both support Save the Children. So a percentage of our royalties will be going to Save the Children. And also, we want to support farm animal charities. We haven't chosen exactly which charity we'll support, but some of the money will be going to little piggies too.
All right.
Excellent.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to go into our next guest with Sandra Barnes. But in the meantime, I want you to put this under your hat. I would love to have you to come back on the show, and hopefully, if you get a chance to talk with Sheila Graybird, maybe she can, tag team with you on the air. That's not a problem. We can connect both of you on the screen at the same time.
Oh, that would be a good idea. I'm sure she'd love to come and chat to you. And you're really warm hosts and so welcoming. And thank you very much. It's been a pleasure being on your show.
It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Okay, everybody. Our next guest is Sandra Barnes with the book titled Battered, Beaten, and Scorned. Still, I Rise Above It All. This is another book that's off the chain. And I tell you what, we'll be right back after this.
All right.
James isn't the world's greatest kid. But then again, he's not the worst either. In fact, he's just average. When he decides to become the most average kid who ever lived, James is mysteriously transported into another world called the Realm of Possibilities, where he meets a talking goat named Mayor Culpa, who happens to be a scapegoat. Mayor Culpa informs him that the former king of average, King Norman the Unexceptional, has disappeared, and they need a new king immediately to take his place. He has to go on a quest to find out what happened to King Norman, and is joined on this quest by a professional optimist named Monsieur Roger, who has in his pocket a grouchy companion, an equally professional pessimist named Killjoy. Together they set out on a journey of self-discovery that take them all the way from the Sea of Doubt to Mount Impossible, the highest peak in the unattainable mountain. There he stumbles upon a Shangri-La called Epiphany, and that's where James discovers the secret about who he really is. Join James and his friends in this hilarious adventure-packed journey to find self-worth in this heartfelt middle-grade novel, The King of Average.
Welcome back to APN TV Media. And you know what? We're going to kick off with our second guest. She needs no introduction. Been known for quite some time here, and her name is Sandra Barnes, and she's been through hell and back, and I mean numerous times. She lived to tell about it. Her and her family has a serious experience, and you know what? The book titled Battered, Beaten, and Scorned, Still I Rise Above It All. That's a statement on its own, and it's an encouragement for all women. And Bob?
Well, it's a very interesting book, and I think we want to hear more from Sandra.
Yeah, yes, we do. Sandra, are you there?
Hi, how are you? Yes, I'm here.
Yes. Welcome on the show.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Your book is off the chain. I know we're not supposed to be, you have a dynamic way to tell a story went on, but at the same time, you have us laughing and crying. We'd be upset but what happened to you, but you have us laughing and crying at the same time. I don't even know why to say why, but you know what? The door's open. How about that, right, Bob?
That's it.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself, and the door's open. Our hat's off to you.
Okay, my name is Sandra Barnes. I am the age of 54, single mother of one, which I had two. One is deceased already. And basically, that's all I do is sit around and write, and I'm enjoying life.
Why did you, or what inspired you to write this book?
Well, the inspiration came from when I was younger. I used to always write in middle school, high school, but basically, the most inspiration came when my son made the suggestion that I write a book. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at him like, really? And he's like, yes, Mom, write a book. You need to write a book about your life. And to me, it was funny. But after his passing, I kept thinking on it. And I just decided, you know what? I need to release this because of the hurt and the pain that was left, and just knowing that the pain I caused on my children over the years, and it was still there. So I just decided to release it. And when I did, I released it in my book.
Oh, that sounds like a really great way to do it.
Let me do this. How and what, or should I say, overcoming abuse. I do it that way. It's lazy to say it this way. Overcoming abuse. How were you able to overcome it, or did you ever succeed to overcome it, or shall I say? I just said are you able to overcome abuse, but I'm also, just in case, was the book therapy to help overcome abuse?
Yes, it were. It was basically helpful. Only because enduring everything that I did over the years, and then the passing of my son 2 years after, it was like, whoa, wait a minute, what happened here? First he's gone, now my son is gone, and just thinking my children never got to live a childhood life, only because we all were walking in minefields, and we always had to be where you got to know what to say, when to say it, how to say it, what to do, when to do it. And I sat down and I thought about it, and I'm like, wow, this was my life. And just knowing the hurt that I had, I was like, I have to release this one way or another. And I just started writing about it. And it was just like, this is my therapy. Get it out. So that way, now that the hurt is gone, this is something I feel good about myself now. Because for a while, he had me thinking I didn't look good. I didn't felt good. And over the years, I'm still thinking the same way. I don't look good. I don't feel good. And by getting rid of this, I feel wonderful. And I mean it when I say I feel wonderful, I feel joy every day. When I wake up in the morning, it's just like, wow, this is the true me. I don't have to worry about this anymore.
Do you have a particular target audience?
Well, really and truly, I don't, because if you think about it, everybody is being abused, but it's to the point where they're not talking about it. And to me, I feel like whomever pick up this book and they read it, it'll help them. But any audience particularly, no, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that guy that you had, I mean, that was dangerous. You know, that they're also about that pouring gasoline on you, or trying to pour gasoline on you, or like you're in the front and then putting it by your feet and all that. I mean, I don't even know how you was able to endure it, unless were you were also, I have to say it this way, just to open the door for other women too as well, because that is what this book is about, to help women to see, you know, that what you went through, that they shouldn't have to go through something like that. But you endured it. I mean, come on, the gasoline thing. Was it basically you was concerned for the children as well?
Yes, I really were, because at that time, my children, they were almost in the teenage years where my son were. And it was just the thought of, okay, you pour this gas on me in front of my children. How would they take this? And then, you know, the part of having to live their life thinking, my mom sit here and she let this man either burnt me up or killed me, or however it would have turned out to be. Thanks it didn't. But it was just the thought of it, and just thinking, what would the story they have to tell their children about what happened to me in the period of time what took place.
Now, how long did it take for you to start to feel like your life had changed for the better?
Maybe about 5 years, honestly. It took me about 5 years to realize it.
And how long y'all were together?
15 years.
15 years, and went through that almost like, it seemed like almost from day, well, I ain't gonna say day one, within the first week, it started going a little rocky.
Yes, it did. The first week, it just started with the lies, basically, because I would call him, and upon calling him, he's not home. And the next day when I asked, where were you on the night before? It was always, well, I was in the room and nobody never came and knocked on the door. And I'm like, okay. And then it just kept going from there. But I still sit there and I'm trying to be this understanding person. So maybe that was the possibility of it. So yes, it started that early.
What about this? Could it also, do you think that things, and I'm still looking at the overall picture for all women, is it possible that you could have, I mean, not you per se, but things could have changed if drugs weren't in the equation?
To be honest, I'm not sure. Because basically from my understanding from him, that he was coming out of something. So I was hoping that it would, but right now that's a question I cannot answer because I don't know.
Because you got 15 years as a vet in this, with this whole bizarre, a lot of women wouldn't even survive that long. Not the magnitude what he has done to you. That's that thing that turns you into like the movie of Sybil and all those type of movies that that you hear about, on LMN. I mean, you went beyond the norm. The average, if you think the average lifespan for women in that type of environment would have been anywhere from 6 to 9 years, if that.
Yes.
If that, not at that magnitude. But you went up to 15 years. The thing about it was, I was going to get to is about you're a caring woman. I'm going to say that to everybody. You're a very caring woman. There's no doubt about that. Because even you had compassion at the end because of he died in a bizarre way.
Yes.
And I didn't want to tell that people. I want people to be able to read your book about that. But he died in a bizarre way.
Yes.
And it's scary. It's I hate to say it's not fortunate or misfortunate, but it's scary. You know, sometimes God has a way of doing things. If it was another year or so, because I have to say this, and I had to step out on this one. If it didn't happen in the bizarre way it happened, who knows what would have happened the next following year? Because you were living on eggshells after the first week.
Yes.
Or who says you wouldn't have done something? Because according to there were several times that you was about to, flip the coin and say enough of this two-headed coin feature. It ain't going to be one-sided. You're not going to be controlled.
Yes.
But for the sake of the family, you tried to keep peace within it.
Yes, I did.
And endured. Am I saying this right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, you're saying it right, basically.
Yeah, I mean that's a story to tell to the world. I mean, literally, a woman who survived 15 years of it, and it's like,
Yes.
how was that even possible? Now the guy was trying to kill you.
Yes, because everybody else asked me the same question within the family and outside. But, I had to make myself strong and my mind strong in order to say, okay, since I made you this promise, this is what I'm going to stick to. And knowing it wasn't easy because, like I said, every day I hear the same thing. Don't leave me. I need you. And by hearing him saying that, within my heart, it was like, okay, I have to be here. But in the same time, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, what is wrong with me? Why am I sitting here and I'm doing this? And just by basically hearing my children ask me the same question, Mama, why are you here? Why are you taking this? But I could not explain to them why I was still there. And I took it upon myself to make the decision to just be there.
See, that's why I said our hats off to you because that's almost an unheard of survival story on a relationship. Not 15 years and it's like every other week or so this dude was plotting and planning and didn't apologize, and at the end of the day or end of the month, everything's back to normal for a few days, then it's back again to one of those major episodes, that even psychologists will be baffled. How a woman can survive that. And yes, you are a strong woman. That we all notice. You are a strong woman in this, not only for your children, not only for you're the victim who is strong, but you were a victim who got victimized on multiple occasions, came back up. Oh, my goodness. Is there a part in there in that book that you were in the trunk of the car? Hello?
No.
Huh?
No.
You were never put in the trunk or about to be put in the trunk? Dragged out?
No. It was where I was drugged from being in the house where I started playing around because it was raining that day. And we sitting there and it was like, okay, I'm going to enlighten the moment. And when he came in and I sat on his lap, and by we sitting there, and all of a sudden I just nudged him upside the head and he go, don't do this again, because if you does, I'm going to grab you by your feet and I'm going to drag you around the house in the mud. So I'm thinking, okay, he's playing with me. So I nudged him again, and after the second,
there's a place inside my mind unseen, dreams of you and I that just can't be, but I can keep them safe and locked away inside. In a perfect world where I control it, you give me your heart there and I would hold it. But I know that just can't be reality. But please, don't you wake my daydream, 'cause it's so real it seems. Maybe someday I'll get my head from the clouds, but for now I'll just daydream. If you said to jump, then I will do it. Right into the fire and walk straight through it. And if you knew, I bet that's just what you would say. I guess the only thing for me to do is never let you know just how I'm feeling, 'cause I don't want to know if you don't feel the same. It's a shame. Don't you wake my daydream, 'cause it's so real it seems. Maybe someday I'll get my head from the clouds, but for now I'll just daydream. 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 There's a place inside my mind unseen, dreams of you and I that just can't be, but I can keep them safe and locked away inside, inside. But don't you wake my daydream. Whoa, so real it seems. Maybe someday I'll get my head from the clouds, but for now I'll just daydream. Don't you wake my daydream.